What up guys, welcome to another video. We're out along the trail that we normally drive in the wheeling videos that I've been posting. And it's really windy, it's really windy out, so I apologize if there's a bunch of wind noise and I sound terrible, but yeah, we're out. And as you can see, for the first time on video, I actually have my tent pulled out on my truck, and today finally I'm going to do a quick video on the stuff that I have done to my truck so far. I've been filming wheeling videos with it and I've never really walked through what I have on it. Also brought a drone that I just got, and I was planning on using it, but since it's so windy and it's just a small drone, I don't know if that's going to be possible, so I'm hoping that it'll die down soon here and I can use it. But anyways, let's get into talking about this thing a little bit. I'm gonna say this is kind of a intro level to overlanding, wheeling, whatever you want to call it. I haven't done a ton, but it's a pretty good setup for the amount that I go out. But I'd say this is a good start. So we're gonna go through what I have, and if anybody's wanting to get into it, maybe you can get some of the same stuff. We'll start out with my favorite mod, and the one that I would honestly recommend most as like a first purchase if you're gonna be going out overlanding, camping, whatever you want to call it, often, which is my rooftop tent, which is an ARB Simpson 3, which is a 2 to 3 person tent. But yeah, I really like it. It's not super heavy either. I believe this tent is 120 pounds, which is pretty average for tents from what I've read. It has 3 windows on it. Right now I just have this window open right here. This one, these same metal rods that are holding that window up, you can put onto the rain fly here and it'll hold the fly up, and then that window will roll up. And then there's also the window on this side. With the height that the rack is at right now, I can't open this window. I can get one metal rod on this side right here, but the other one will hit the roof of my truck if I try and put it on right now. And I do have a solution to that, which is actually my rack. I'll get into that in a second. I'll show you guys the inside of the tent quick too. What I love about this tent is that I can actually leave all of my bedding inside of the tent. So right now, the mattress, obviously most tents it'll stay in here, but I leave my pillows in here and normally have blankets in here as well, and it still folds up perfectly fine. And it's definitely spacious in here, like plenty of space for some bags and at least 2 people. Some people put 3 people in these tents, but I'd say that's a bit squishy. All 3 windows, they just unzip, and they all obviously have the little netting on them to keep the bugs and everything out. So all these rubber bungees that go across are just to help the tent close when you fold it back up. When you're in here, you can just disconnect those and then they're out of the way. But yeah, that's the inside of the tent. Nothing too crazy, but it's more than enough. The ladder off the tent has a ton of adjustability too. Like my rack isn't that high, but as you can see, there's still quite a bit more that the ladder can extend. So if you had this on top of an SUV or something, I'm sure you'd have no issues. The ladder might just be on a bit of a steeper angle. But yeah, I think that's it for the tent. From there, we will move on to my Thule rack that the tent is on. So the rack that I use for my tent is a Thule Exporter Pro. Most trucks I see that are running this rack are actually using it for ladders and like construction purposes. The thing that really drew me to this rack though was the fact that it is very adjustable. As you literally just have these knobs right here. You loosen all 4. It's easy to do with 2 people. Loosen all 4 and then you can just lift the rack up, and as you lift it, it'll latch on every notch. So it's not like you have to hold it there and then go and tighten these. It's super easy to lift up, and with the tent only being 120 pounds, it's not hard to do at all. I love the fact that when I'm daily driving my truck, I can keep the tent basically below roofline to help with mileage. But when I'm setting up camp, if I wanted to, I could raise the rack up as high as I wanted, really, and it could be well above the roofline, and then I can fit more stuff underneath the truck back here. That was definitely a main selling point for me, and the fact that it was readily available. And at the time I couldn't find too many bed racks for this truck, but now I keep seeing a bunch of new bed racks that are coming out, so I'll probably upgrade this one at some point. But I'm not stoked to lose that adjustability. And this rack was, I guess most are these days, but it was extremely easy to install. It just clamps onto the side of the bed. There's these little rubber pieces that go in between so you don't ruin your bed sides. And yeah, it was easy to install. I've never had an issue with it. In terms of weight ratings, it's rated for 500 pounds dynamic, so static weight, like when you're camping up there, if you had a few people up there, or luggage or whatever, I'm assuming the static weight is much more than that. So I don't think I would ever have an issue with the amount of stuff I have on it in terms of weight. To mount my tent onto the rack, I just made these steel brackets, nice and simple. There's slots in the bottom of the tent, so no matter the width of your rails, you can make it work. yeah, I just made them out of steel myself and used some good bolts that came with the tent, and I've had no issues with this thing moving around. Even off-roading, it's never come loose or slid at all. Moving on from the rack, I guess we'll talk about my only piece of recovery equipment so far. It's better than nothing, but I do have my Max Tracks mounted on the back of the rack as well. Drilled new holes in the Prinsu rack mounts so that I could double it as my tent mount as well. So you can see my tent bolts are underneath there as well. And then obviously these are meant for Max Tracks, so these outside holes were already the correct width for the Max Tracks. And yeah, that's basically all I had to do for that. And I've had to use them a few times now, and they've worked really well. I do highly recommend the Max Track. You should never really go out alone, but especially if you go out alone, at least have something. The Max Tracks have saved me once. So yeah, highly recommend those guys. Moving on to the lighting that I have on the truck. My truck is sponsored by Speed Demon Lights. They make some unreal lights, and all the lights on my truck are obviously made by Speed Demon. I have the side blinder HDs on the front of the truck. I originally had their smaller 4-pack ditch lights on the front of my truck, but I found with the full-size truck they just looked a little bit small, so I got the bigger side blinder HDs. And if you've watched any of my wheeling videos, you've seen how bright they are, and especially with the contrast of the yellow. I wrapped them yellow, they come white, but it's super easy to do if you wanted to do it. I just got some yellow vinyl from Logan that I believe he got off Amazon. To mount my ditch lights here as well, I used the Z-Roads ditch light brackets. I have no complaints with them. Fitment was good, they're great. So if you have one of these trucks and you're looking for brackets, they're not the easiest to find. It's not like the Toyotas where literally everyone makes brackets, but the Z-Roads one, I really like them. On the back of the truck, I can't remember the name of these, but I'll link all the lights down below. I have these guys on the side of my truck. I find it really nice to have lighting on the side of the truck for when you're setting up camp, or even on the trail if you just want to be seen at night. Just have these guys, you can just point them down at the ground or wherever you want to point them. The way I have them mounted, I basically just made another steel bracket for here and used the Thule rack underneath. The way I have them mounted, I can loosen this off just a little bit and twist them whatever direction I want. My wiring, not the cleanest. I literally just have the switch right here, and then yeah, those guys are really bright. I just have the switch right there. For now, I was mounting these in the cold, and I was way too lazy to figure out a way to get them into the truck, and I would have had to extend the harness and all this shit, so I just left it like that for now. I left some slack on the wire right here, because when I do twist the lights around, I actually had an issue with that not long ago. I had this wired a lot tighter, and most of the wire was tucked into the rack, and I went to go twist the light to the side at night, and it was kind of cold, and the wire just snapped because I had too much tension on it. So I leave a little bit of slack there. It doesn't look the cleanest, but it's functional, so that's all that really matters on this thing. And then the last lights from Speed Demon that I have on the truck are these flush mount 4-pack. They're the Black Ops ones, so they have the black housing, and these things are sweet. I have them wired into the cargo lights on my truck, so it's a switch inside. So it's this guy right there, so just hit that, it'll let you know that they're on, and then yeah, so they're not extremely bright. What I've honestly used them for the most is when I'm loading a trailer, when I'm towing one of my cars or whatever, loading a trailer at night. They're super handy with an open trailer, obviously. They've been really useful that way too, but they also work well as chase lights on a trail as well. They also come on with my reverse lights as well, actually, so at night with the backup camera. For some reason the backup camera on this truck isn't amazing at night. It's very grainy if it's pretty dark out, so those lights have helped brighten up the camera too. For the wheels and tires that I have on the truck, I'm running Fuel Rebel 6s that are 17 by 9 plus 12. I do have 1.5-inch spacers on the truck too that do make it rub when it wouldn't rub at all without the spacers, but I like how it looks and the rubbing isn't too aggressive, so I deal with it. And then I have the Yokohama Geolander XATs. Because I tow with this truck, I've heard that towing with MTs isn't the best, and MTs are also pretty loud. And with the level of wheeling that I'm doing with this thing, I really don't need MTs. The ATs have been great. I air them down to around like 15-18 psi, and they've been awesome this winter, even on the ice. So, suspension wise, this truck is basically 100% stock. All I have is a 2.25 ready lift level in the front, and that's all I've had. Clearance, like I said earlier when I was talking about the tires, I don't do anything super aggressive with this truck, so clearance wise I haven't had any issues. It's good at this height. I'll probably leave it like this for a little while until I upgrade to a full coilover setup. Once I'm done the S13, that'll probably happen. But for now, it functions well like this. It tows well like this. If I get coilovers, I'll probably have to get airbags for the rear because it'll be a little bit softer. So yeah, I'm happy with the way it is right now. I do have some other things that I always keep on me and bring when I'm going out wheeling or camping or whatever. Just quickly talk through a few of these things. I talked about these in the last wheeling video I made, but this is just an Amazon kit of tire deflators that I got, and I've had no issues with these things. It comes with this little tire pressure gauge. It comes with these 4 little tire deflators. You can set the spring to whatever strength you want, and basically that's your PSI, and then you just screw this onto your valve stem and it'll deflate your tires to that PSI. It's super easy to set them up, and I just mark them with a Sharpie on it so I know that it's always at the right PSI. It also comes with some extra valve stem caps and some cores, a core removal tool. So basically everything you need in terms of airing down, and it was like $30. If I can find it and it's still there, I'll link it down below. But yeah, this kit has been sweet. I guess you could also consider this to be a recovery item as well. This is actually from Speed Demon Lights as well. This is their jump starter, which I always keep on me. It has never failed me every time I've used it. It's super small, kind of cool looking too, but it comes with obviously the jumper cables and basically every charging cord you could ever need. You can charge it, it's not in here right now, but you can charge it obviously in a wall, but it also comes with the 12-volt one for your car as well if you need to charge it that way. Even if I'm going out with other people, I always keep that on me. You never know, you could have all of your vehicles die and then you're really screwed when you're out in the middle of nowhere with no service. So I always keep that guy on me. It's jumped, I think I've used it like 4 or 5 times in a row without charging it, and I've never had it fully die. So yeah, I highly recommend this guy. It's very reasonably priced and it works really well. So always a good thing to have on you. I will link this guy down below too if you guys want to pick one up. Moving on to airing up, I use the Vire 400P, which is good for up to 35-inch tires. It works really quickly on my tires. I can air up from about 15 psi to 30, and I think it's like just over 2 minutes a wheel, which is pretty quick. This guy has been great. A lot of my friends have the ARB twin pump, but this one seems to work just as quickly. They have theirs hard mounted normally, which I don't. I do plan on doing that at some point because my truck does have a spot for a second battery that I could use to hard mount this in there. But yeah, this thing has been awesome. It doesn't get super hot either. I think that's because I'm not making it work too hard with this size of tire. The hose that it comes with is plenty long enough to reach from the front of my truck to all 4 tires. You're able to deflate with this hose as well too, which is nice. Sometimes I forget about it when I'm airing up, or I'll be talking and then I air up to like 40 by accident and I have to air down. And the deflate works really well. Obviously has the tire pressure gauge. The only thing with it is when you're airing up, you have to shut the compressor off for it to read the right pressure. It'll read about 8 psi higher when it's running, so you just got to shut it off, then go check the pressure. But that's really not a huge deal. It's never let me down. So again, highly recommend this guy too. And then one other thing that I keep in my truck all the time is actually just this Rubbermaid bin that I have bungeed at the front of my bed there. This thing was a lot cheaper than getting like a steel toolbox or just one of those toolboxes that hard mounts into your truck. I've had no issues with this one moving around. I just put some like non-stick mat on the bottom and it's waterproof, so I keep like, this is my stove, I keep this in this box. I keep jumper cables, a medical kit, towels, just like random tools and stuff like that whenever I go out. Just always nice having everything with you and kind of being prepared for whatever may happen, so I try and always bring all of this stuff with me. So yeah, that's basically everything that I have done to my truck and everything that I bring with me whenever I'm going camping or off-roading or whatever. I'd say this is a really good start, and I feel like with the amount that I go and how long I go for right now, whenever I go out, I have everything that I need. I haven't really found myself in a situation yet where I don't have what I need, so I think this is a good setup. And if you're looking to get into this kind of thing, then I do recommend the stuff that I have. There's little things here and there that could be better, but for the most part I'm happy with it. If you guys do have any questions about things that I didn't talk about the truck, or questions about the truck itself, feel free to leave them down below, or you can shoot me a message on Instagram. My Instagram is right here if you don't follow me already. But the sun is going down now and we want to get out of here before it gets dark, so I think that's going to do it. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like so I know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.